I know Annie won't be joining because she's got a family issue with her father. So.
Oh. Well, thanks for giving the update. Okay. So it's funny. I'm seeing here. I've got the. Okay, I've got the YouTube video up, and it only shows your two faces because I didn't turn my video on yet, so I don't exist on the YouTube. Okay, now I'm joined. Just on the YouTube live thing.
Yeah.
All right, so I've. Where's who?
Joey. Or JJ. They're normally on board, aren't they?
Oh, last week they hadn't. JJ had texted me to tell me that they wouldn't be making it, but he hasn't given me any heads up this week that I've noticed. So, let me check here. So I'm going to start my video thingy because that's good practice to have consistency, even if part of my consistency is the fact that I don't have it ready yet. So
somebody once told me, Adam, I'm not going to say who it is, but I thought it was a good statement. Is you're the most unorganized person he knows.
Yeah. This is like a way to for me to show exactly how crazy it can be, right? So I'm good at coming up with plans, and that's why my business is good. As far as practicing them, I'm really working on the skill. So that's one of the cool things. I could vlog about that. Actually, I do. I have a video of this room as I'm organizing this space here that I'm uploading on YouTube. It's not really well put together right now. It's more like storing it for when I actually do use it. But adding all these extra levels, it's a thing. So we're recording live. The norms are that we engage challenges. We attend it at whim, so come and go when you want and show up any week you want. Connect your business to the topic. The reason I added that whim thing is because a lot of people were apologizing for not making it, and then also some were not coming because they thought it was like a group and like other people are already part of that. So, excuse me. Connect your business with the topic. So part of our idea here is we're going to practice how to talk about our business at the same time. And as Phil pointed out, most unorganized, as an organizer, I'm showing you how to not be organized. There's all these little bits. How this may flow. Attendee greeting is going to come after the intro, and then we're going to discuss the topic loosely. And then there'll be action asks about 9:50 or towards the end. And this is about how we go. So welcome to Adam's Flow for Entrepreneurs, Friday Flow with Entrepreneurs. And most of this is actually going to be handled by Phil this time. So since I didn't do any preparation for the slides, I'm just going to go and hand it on over, Phil, and you can take it from there. So introduce the topic, and then we'll discuss it. Oh, yeah. I guess I probably should do that.
Host disabled participant screens. I need some screen sharing from you, Adam.
Yeah. Security. Share screens now enabled.
You cannot start screen share while other participants are sharing.
All these steps.
So you have to. That's it. That's good.
Oh, okay. Before you get into it, too, one moment. Oh, did you relate?
Yeah.
We can introduce before or after you introduce the topic. What do you think?
Yeah, you can do it before. Well, I mean, yeah, let's have a chat with that. Let me take this down so I can see everybody again. There we go.
Okay. So Jim, what you want to do is post your information in the chat, and whoever puts their information in first is who I'll introduce. One of the things I'm realizing too, Phil and Jim, is that maybe I should put this first usually, so that it's not like this, here's the topic, and then we jump. Because sometimes we get right into a point of questioning, and then I'm like, okay, and switching, let's introduce everybody. So we'll go with that. I'm gonna start with mine. Oh, I realized that I didn't, I'm not showing the slide anymore. That's okay. Share screen. I'm gonna go back to my screen. Yeah, this is a real low maintenance thing for me, is my intention. Kind of just working on getting out and saying hi to people, and so showing all the developments and growth and how long it takes to get things organized is kind of useful in that sense. So we're gonna do the chat, and I'm gonna open the Sparks Flow, my little link here. And what I want to know is your name, kind of, and then tell me about what your ideal client and what you do is, or what your product would be going towards. So here's my current website. I'm rebranding right now, so making it like better and cooler, and gonna be creating a website here in a month or so.
See that you've got that picture in of the see-through masks.
Yeah, because when you brought that up, it was, see, this is one of our talks. This is back when I actually took the time. Another preparation I used to do with this whole thing is I would edit the thumbnail for YouTube. Yeah, I did a lot of work, and I've stopped doing a lot of that. But yeah, that's what that is.
That was Jim. I work with this group at the I-Corps, National Science Foundation I-Corps program. There are 4 ladies that put this company together. They're all deaf, and this is in the days we could travel. And 25 different companies met at the National Science Foundation in Washington. And these ladies did a presentation. They speak very good English, but they can't hear. And they were just stunning. They were absolutely amazing to watch. And they designed this product, so it was pre-pandemic. And you might want to know now that these people are coming on for being millionaires, because they've got federal approval in the US. They've got for medical masks. They've got approval in the United Kingdom for medical masks, and they've got approval around several European countries for medical masks. And they're just selling like hotcakes. I mean, this is for them, the pandemic is a dream. I mean, it's turned their company from
financially
being it was reasonably successful into just mega successful. It's unbelievable. And yet these ladies are just awesome to watch, because they're like I say, they can't hear, but they gave such good presentations. It was phenomenal. I was really impressed, as you can hear.
That's cool. So now I'm kind of want to segue to Phil, so you go ahead and finish up your thing, but because you've already started talking, and then I'll go back to Jim. So Phil, go ahead and give your intro, since you started talking about what you get to do. Yeah, well, because you started talking about what you do. That was a good segue.
So yeah, I founded Strategic Global Group, and that's, if you hold there, where I've got 6. If you look at my logo, I've got 6 different colors up there, and I kind of pinched that from Microsoft and added 2, and you'll see that I've got 6 different things going on there. So one data market, yeah, new biz ideas, new startups, product integration, restructuring, and exit strategies. So, but I'm gonna let this website rest this year, and because I've changed strategic focus a little bit. These are some of the companies I've worked with, and
what, the article?
Yeah, I was like, whatever.
I like the article too, Joey.
Hey, Adam, sorry.
Welcome. No, you're fine. It could come at a whim. All right. Well, thanks, Phil. You're going to do a lot of talking, so I'm going to move on now. So for those that are joining, Hanix and Joey, go ahead and put your links in the chat for whatever web page you want me to go to, or put some sort of word in there so I know what order to address you in. So whoever puts the next chat in is the next person that I bring up. And Jim, you are already ready, so I'm going to open your LinkedIn. You give a LinkedIn page here. we'll see how much of my own personal LinkedIn stuff will come up with that, and I'll see if this is a good idea for me. But I mean, I don't know of a problem, but it's like coming into a social networking page, even if it's focused on business. It's sort of like, okay, is this going to be all right? So here we are. Oh, okay, that's why, because there's I know I've done this before. Oh, look, so Alec appeared last week on, or was it last week on 1 Million Cups? The week before. Yeah, the week before. It appears I'm aiming for Monday now. As soon as I receive the footage, I'll be sending it away. Hope the rest of your day as well. Okay. I don't know what that means. I mean, I know what he's talking about, but I don't know what his message is. So he was doing sort of presentation on, he was doing something on, we're unfortunately unable to interview. Oh, I'm preparing for an interview at New Mexico NM Living. We speak to vaguely address. Okay. So he's trying to make things happen, and he's dealing with some problems. So, but he's moving forward to make that happen. So he's got Real Big Flicks is Alex thing. Oh, someone's got their audio on. Oh, Janet Hanix, you're switching modes you're working on, huh, Hanix? Hanix.
Yes, I am switching modes because I was on my cell phone and I can barely see what you guys were doing, and just I'm almost blind, so I swapped to my iPad to report the noise.
Great, and I see that Joey's added his link on here, so go and add a link or a chat on there, Hanix, so I join you. I introduce you, and Jim, I'll go ahead and let you talk now.
Sure, great. I'm Jim Mortensen. Nice to meet everyone. I know Phil and Adam, Joey and Hanix. Nice to meet you. I'm a Chief Technology Officer and actually a fractional Chief Technology Officer. I work for multiple companies. I provide technical leadership to those companies, build those businesses as a service, and help them develop and execute a technology strategy. Adam, if you scroll up at the top, so you see the banner,
yeah,
I'll just highlight.
Yeah.
There's a quote at the top that I put in the banner that I think is an exceptional quote from Morris Chang. Without strategy, execution is aimless, and without execution, strategy is useless. And that really is the core of what I do from a technology perspective, is help businesses come up with a technology strategy and then execute it. And there's companies that execute well but don't have a strategy, so in essence it's useless. And there's many companies that don't have a technology strategy, that have a technology strategy, but they fell on the implementation, the execution. They just execute so poorly, it doesn't really matter what the strategy is. It's just not going to work out for them. So that's what I do, is work for multiple businesses, providing technical leadership to help them with their strategy and their execution.
Cool. Thanks, Jim. And then the next person then is Joey, because you have your link on here. And there we go.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Joey Gutierrez. I'm with the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce. I'm sure you have seen us on not just this call, but a bunch of others. We love interacting with you guys. Hi, Phil. How's it going?
Good.
Awesome. So we have a lot going on at the Chamber. We are starting the year off very strong and very busy. We help small businesses grow. We help them get resources that they didn't have access to, not just small businesses, but bigger businesses. So yeah, we have an event next Friday that I would love for you guys to spread the word on for businesses, and they can register at our website. But it is called our Community Day, and it's a PPE drive. It's a drive-through. So we will be having cars pull through, pick up PPE supplies, but a bunch of other cool stuff from some major corporations and businesses here in town that are giving us a hand. So there's going to be some giveaways. There's going to be some raffles going on. It's all free of charge. You guys just need to register. So if you can spread the word on that. And then obviously, if you guys want to come pick up stuff too, we welcome you with open arms. So, but yeah, if you need the Chamber for anything, we have a lot of cool things going on. We would love to talk to you about our resources and how we can help.
Cool. So you're talking about the 26th Hispanic Chamber Community Day. Do you
That's
have any
right.
of these? Do you have a little thumbnail over here about it? I'm
I
not seeing
think
anything, but
there is, if you can keep me see here, because I have mine up.
I don't see a thumbnail on this page, but that's okay.
There is
If I click-
one.
Maybe you should click February.
What? What are you saying? Oh, here?
There is.
Adam, I just popped we'll pop a link in the chat to the page. I went off the calendar.
Oh, so you clicked on the day of the calendar?
If you look on the day on the
26th?
calendar to February 26th, then there's a link to the actual event.
Click on that. Is it clicking? Is it going? Ah. All right. So there's so we go to the 26th. I can register for the event, and that'll take me there.
Oh, there
If
it
you look
goes.
down below. And so there's this. Okay, there's a thumbnail to make it look pretty. Cool. Yeah, and during that, we're gonna do a Facebook Live
Yes.
event that I get to host, and so Phil will be taking over the hosting of this because they're simultaneously happening. So Phil will continue his conversation today, next week on Adam's Friday Flow, and then I'll be with the Hispanic Chamber doing a Facebook Live, socially smart over there. So that's cool. Thank you, Joey.
Thank you, guys.
Onyx.
Hello guys, how you doing? I'm sorry about my mess. I specialize in helping people to have money strategies. You may be surprised the fact that currently we have in the lowest tax rates in history, and those tax breaks are going to be in on January 26, 2020, January 1st, 2026. And this is a concern that I am writing. I do financial education for people. Many people are alert that we have a huge financial fiscal gap. That it is the fiscal gap is the money that we have, the debt that we have in the books and off the books, like a Social Security, and the tax are going to increase, like in past years. We have reached 94% in tax rates. So I am inviting people through this blog at honixlife.com/blog to take a look of the realities that we have and how they can put the money smart, because we had three different types of ways to put the monies. One is the taxable bucket, the stocks, mutual funds, and those avenues are heavily taxed. And there are the deferred tax bucket, where you put your 401k, your retirements. But what happens is when you take the money out is when you see the tax rate that you are going to have. So that is very important for people to have just the right amount in that bucket, so their Social Security income does not get taxed. And then the other bucket is the tax-free bucket, and people don't know that at avenues where you can put your retirement as a tax-free bucket, and just to put the strategy where you can put just the right amount in each bucket, so you don't get hit with taxation. And I put that movie, and I encourage you to watch the movie, The Tax Train. You see, is coming. I highly recommend to watch the movie. Really, really, really will help you guys to understand is all what I am putting into it. It's an hour long movie. See?
And this is just a trailer for it.
This is a trailer
Okay,
for
cool.
it, but you can go in there and click in it. You can see the movie, and it's
Yeah.
very interesting movie, very educational. But I want to bring that awareness. because what we do with Honey's Assurance, what we do is we sit
Nice.
down and create a strategy for you. You see, for
Cool.
so that way you
To
don't
work on
suffer, get hit with the train tracker taxes.
Hi, thank you. So it's interesting because you talked about brackets and then you changed to talking about buckets, and I didn't notice it until I went to the spot on here. Like, what's the difference between a bucket and a bracket? Is it just another way of saying bracket?
The tax bracket is according with your income, you are in, you have to pay a certain percentage of taxation, right? And the tax bucket is where you put it. You put your money in it. The avenues where you can put you just can put your money, like if you have a different buckets. Here is money for, let's say, for emergency, and here is for retirement, and see, like a little buckets of money.
Okay.
Say, is the tax brackets,
Great.
the IRS is how they tax your income. It's very different.
Thank you for that. That's great.
Mhm.
Thanks, Johannes.
People don't know that in it. So I see that in how we get taxed. We get taxed 85% taxation with people with an income of 34,000 for single, and 43,000 for married couple. Is 85% only. So it's very affordable, the tax. So I think is really is 85% taxation, Social Security. Basically, it's your own money. You get taxed in your own money. So by creating a real strategy, so your retirement lasts longer because you are hit with the tax bracket, and then the taxation for the Social Security income. And if you say you want to wait, you must distribute it at a 70.5, because otherwise it will be 50% penalty plus the bracket that you are. Let's say you're on a 30% tax bracket, that is 80%.
Those are that's a lot of data, and I don't know if I can hold all that. Do you have a diagram? Well, but we'll use that another time though. I'd be interested if you had a diagram like showing that, because for me it'd be really helpful to have a visual, because I'm hearing a lot of your words and then I'm forgetting them. Also, Henix, when you post on there, on here, make the HTTP on Zoom. Whenever you use a Zoom call, put the HTTP in front of it, because then it can be clicked on. In this case, I copied and pasted your link up there, but it makes it quicker and easier for people to get to you if you put the HTTPS. And I'll always give you, and I'll also update you on that in case you forget. So I'm there for you.
Okay, thank you. I have no clue before. So sorry.
No, that's fine. It's just not as user-friendly as like Facebook and other sites are yet. You know, if you're typing it in an email, most email users will actually switch it when they see www. They make it into a hyperlink, but Zoom's not that friendly yet. So cool.
Okay.
Eric.
New things to learn.
Yeah, thank you. Eric.
I didn't even know there was a queue.
Yeah.
So, so glad to be here.
Yeah. Do you have a page you'd like me to go to, or you just want to say hi and then we'll move on?
I was joining late, and I'm not even sure what the prompt is, to be honest. So
it's who are you and what do you do and who do you work with and who do you want to work with?
Oh boy, I don't have any page to do that, but I can give a brief version of that. Yeah, so I'm a community builder who works in and around economic development. So there's a lot of different ways of doing community building. What typically I do is I try to connect the community building aspect with more traditional economic development, which is, some people refer to that as ecosystem building. And who do I like to work with? I'm increasingly finding it interesting and valuable to work with smaller communities, towns, etc., to help them identify the strengths and the beauty and the things that they love locally, and help build that into something that can be a little more sustainable in terms of growing business and communities.
Thanks, Eric. All right, so we're gonna go and switch on to Phil now. we have kind of a half hour left. We have some good intros, so I'm gonna stop share so you can bring it up again. So as you're getting that ready, for those that came in, Phil is preparing for. He's going to be presenting this weekend, and so he's going to take a little chunk of his presentation for this weekend and try it out on us, and we're going to see how that goes. He'll also be hosting next week because I'll be with Joey at a PPE sharing site. So you're going to want to put on your voice, Phil.
Over to me. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go through. I'm going to go on the SWOT again because Joey's in, and I got Joey's SWOT in front of me. So I asked for Jim and Eric and Yannick's. I asked a couple of people to do a SWOT on their business and just send it through to me to have a look. And I thought I'd just talk about this one, but what I will show you is that if you're doing a business, I've designed a model for developing strategies, and it's all to do with collecting data. And so these are the 3 business matrices that I'll be presenting to the University of Mexico on Monday. And I'm going to go through all 3. What we're not going to do today is go through all 3 because they're very intense, and I have to keep it at a very high level. But we're still going to have a look at the SWOT, so I'm not going to talk about that. The resource-based view of strategy, the bottom right one there that you see here, that is a matrix that is primarily used for internal. When you want to look inside your business and you want to measure what's going on inside your business, these are the 4 areas that you need to look at. You need to look at what have you got, that's what assets that you got or persons that are of great value, what you have that's rare, that your competition doesn't have or other companies, what is imitable, what can be duplicated or substituted in your organization, and likewise, what you can duplicate and substitute from other organizations, and how your organization is absolutely arranged. Yeah. So that would be the resource-based view. And just to give you a quick overview of the 3rd one, which is the 5 forces matrix, and you may know that as Porter's 5 forces. It covers buyers and suppliers, new market entry and substitution, and competitive rivalry. Now, this matrix is completely outside of your organization. This is how your organization works outside of your business. Okay, so the resource-based view looks at what's inside your business, and the Porter's 5 forces looks at what's outside your business. But if we go here, let's go into presentation mode. We're going to go through the SWOT. And what I'm going to do here is, this is the basic SWOT. Most of you know this. I've been through this with Adam before. And it's 9:30. The SWOT is the most, out of the 3 matrices, the SWOT is going to be the most influential and the most informative matrix that you will complete, because you start with the SWOT and you finish with the SWOT. And by that, I mean, what happens when you're going through the whole simple strategic planning process that I've developed, what happens is that you start with the SWOT and you put attributes onto the SWOT, and then you move to the resource-based view, you complete that, and the attributes from that come onto the strengths and weaknesses of your SWOT. And then when you go into Porter's 5 forces and you complete that, those attributes come on to the opportunities and threats. So you do a full circle when you come back to the SWOT. So we'll have a look at the SWOT and see how it's actually working. You have to understand how a SWOT works. You can pick up a bit of paper like Joey did, and it was a good attempt. And I'm looking at his SWOT, and it's he's got strengths on the top, underneath he's got weaknesses, underneath that he's got opportunities, and underneath that he's got threats. So he's come down on a page horizontally, one under the other. But if you use the format of a SWOT, and this is the official format of a SWOT, and you keep this format, it will do a couple of things for you. It will help you put all your attributes down, all right? But it will also give you a good visual, and I'm going to give you a demonstration of that as we go through. So how many of you have actually used the SWOT for something or other? I know Joey has.
I am.
Yeah, you have, Eric, and you have you, Yannick?
Yes.
Yeah, she said.
Okay. So what areas do you think you can use a SWOT for?
What areas?
Yeah.
Areas of our business?
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. So what can you use a SWOT for? It doesn't matter about area. What can you use it for?
Anything. Shoe type.
You're practically right, Adam. You can, but I'll give you some good. You can use it on your organization. All right, the whole organization.
Oh yeah.
And if you're in an organization, okay, and you've got several departments, let's just say you got sales, marketing, and service, you can use it internally in that organization in each of those categories. And if you're doing a SWOT on the business, the best thing you can do if you've got more than one organization is to get who runs the organization, get that person to do a SWOT on his part of the organization. So you can do departments or sections within an organization. You can do individuals. You can do performance. All right. And you can even use it as a resume builder. If you're going for another job and you want to know about you, then you can sit down and you can start doing a SWOT on yourself, and you can use it as a resume builder. You can also use it on products, whatever products you're selling. All right. So you can do what are the strengths and weaknesses and the opportunities and threats of the products that you are actually selling to your customers. You can use it on services if you give services. And of course, the ultimate one is if you want to, you can actually do a SWOT on your competition from what you know and see how that compares to what you're doing. So we look at it horizontally first, and we take the two top ones, which are strengths and weaknesses, and they're internal to your organization. So everything that you know about your organization should be in the strengths and weaknesses. In the opportunities and threats, everything that you know that is affecting your organization and that are opportunities that you haven't yet materialized or exploited should go in that section. So the top part is you're working internally within your organization, and the bottom part is all the outside influences that are affecting your organization. And remember, if you're doing this as a department, then your department, if you as a sales manager, you would be doing it as a sales manager, looking at what your strengths and weaknesses are. And then the opportunities and threats will be, how does your organization support you? And how does the other departments in that organization affect you? And they would go in that external part. And then what we do now is we look at it on a vertical basis, and the strengths and the opportunities on a SWOT are helpful to you. All right, whatever you're doing and however you're doing it, on the left-hand side, it's helpful. And on the right-hand side, it's harmful. And this is the visual aspects of the SWOT and how it works. Yeah. So what do you put into these boxes? So this is the complete makeup of a SWOT. What do you put into these boxes? I call them attributes. You put in the things that you think are relevant to those particular boxes. And attributes can be, internal effects, events, workflows, processes, product features, people, all those kind of things that go in. These are the things that you need to look at within your organization that you put into these boxes. Now, when you're doing the strengths and weaknesses, you should also add in there the culture of your organization. How's that working? Because the culture determines the workflows and the processes of your organization as well. On the external side, you use exactly the same things, same attributes, the effects, the events, the workflows, the processes, the products, but you would add in laws, rules, and regulations. And laws, rules, and regulations are there to help you manage your business. They may be coercive at times to your business, but ultimately, laws, rules, and regulations are there to help you run a business. They say what you can and you can't do. So you could actually, for example, have a threat in your SWOT because the law says you have to do something. So, for example, I was in the semiconductor industry and we use dangerous gases and chemicals. And so that's a threat to us. We have to make sure that we're abiding by those laws, that we treat those chemicals and those gases correctly, we handle them properly. And how you use them, all right, in the organization becomes either a strength or a weakness. So if you're not using them correctly, if you're not following the right safety protocols, then you will have a strength and a weakness. Another good example would be health and safety. All right, everybody has to abide by health and safety laws, but your company or your organization may have you may have a very good record at health and safety, and you may have awards at it. Even I've known companies have awards at health and safety, so you can actually market that as a strength. So you can now you've got the health and safety as a threat because you have to have it because it's a law, but you can also market it as a strength because you've got awards for it, and that's something that you can publicize to your customers. So the other thing that you need to do here is you need to be absolutely honest. All right, if you've got weaknesses and you've got threats, you really need to be honest about them. And so if you're in an organization and you're doing your SWOT for your particular department, then put down what you think, honestly, you should be doing, what is a weakness in your department that you need to exploit, and what opportunities and threats there are in your department that you need to mitigate or change. And it would be a good idea to say, if I'm working with, so if you're a sales guy and you're doing this, then it would be good for you to say, well, I have to work with the marketing and the service division. And, marketing isn't really very good at giving me the value added terms of our product. And so you need to put that down there. And you have to be honest, because if you don't put down honest attributes in a SWOT, then you're never going to get to build a good strategic plan. So there's no retribution in developing a critique of somebody else's way of doing business. Everything that comes in the weaknesses, the threats, and the opportunities is an asset, is a positive asset for you to either mitigate and turn that weakness into a strength, or just to get rid of it altogether. Yeah. So complete honesty about doing a SWOT is something that needs to be taken into account. So this is the multiple views, all right? So this one is like the organization. What is the organization good at? What is the organization not good at? What new prospects should the organization exploit? And what outside pressures can the organization mitigate? But if you look at all the departments, it's what is your department good at, not good at? What new opportunities can your department work with? Yeah. and the same with the threats. And then what you do is you bring all of these and you bring them onto what I call a master SWOT. You fill these out. Now, we're going to have a look at a SWOT that I completed with Harvard Business School on Tessai, which is a Japanese cleaning company for the bullet trains in Japan. So just before we have a look at that, one other thing I want to say, and I missed it when I was talking about the attributes. When you're writing the attributes into the relative boxes that you're using, you need to use more than one word, more than two words. You need to have it as a short, succinct, to the point statement. All right. So, Joey, if you don't mind me, if it's okay with you, I want to run over a couple of yours. So, okay. Joey, in the strengths, okay, put down sustainability. And he's saying that the Hispano Chamber of Commerce has a good record at doing sustainability. Well, what? Sustainable what? We don't have any idea of what that is. Yeah. You've got, I'm just going to pick one out of each. So you've got in weaknesses, perception, value add. Okay, so I'm perceiving, when I read that, I'm saying to myself, okay, he's got a perception issue on whether he adds value to his client or to the organization. I don't know if I'm right or wrong there, but you need just a little bit more in there to say what it is you're trying to get. I'm not asking you to justify it. I'm just saying from a perspective. So in the opportunities, you've got spreading the wealth. Okay, I love that. But what does that mean? What is it you're going to be doing? And the reason that I'm saying you should put just a little bit more information is because if you did this and JJ did his one, all right, which is how it should have been, then you should have brought your one and JJ's together. And as you do that, you begin to see how many common things you've got. And you can get rid of the duplications, but you can begin to understand better the whole context of the business because you're getting more than one point of view. And that's why I encourage when you're in an organization where there's more than one, that you do more than one SWOT, because the more inputs you get, the more positive and negative reactions you get when you complete the SWOT. And remember, every negative and threat, every weakness and threat on a SWOT is useful information. It's good for you to have. Yeah. So I'm going to take you through this SWOT. The next slide is going to
Phil, real quick, to apply it to like other folks, like myself and Hannix. One of these points I'm going to hear when you say it, Hannix, and I'm going to say it better.
Thank you.
Yeah. So for Hannix and me, we are like solopreneurs. And so in this case, the cool thing is Joey and JJ are part of a team. And so they can interact with each other. But what I could do is I could ask like my wife to also do it as she sees my company, right?
Yeah. I mean, as a solopreneur, it's fine for you to do it because you need to write what the strengths and weaknesses are of your organization Friday Flow.
I like the collaboration part. And that's why I'm saying that what we could do is then we could, instead of just calling someone else in our company, since we don't have anyone else, we could ask someone out from outside of our company that we really trust that would like us to.
And that would be the best thing for you to do. Yeah. Because what you're doing is effectively getting an outsider view of what you're and their perception of what you're doing. Yeah. So
by the way, are you guys seeing this closed captioning thing that I'm doing?
Yeah, I see closed caption is available. Yeah.
I've been typing like little snippets instead of doing it in the chat like I was originally. So if
Okay.
everyone clicks on the closed
Yeah.
caption, you can agree or disagree with my notes.
Well, I'm going to finish fairly soon, so we can have we got time for a little bit of discussion.
Great.
So the next slide is not for you to read; it's a visual, and I want you to tell me what you see.
What I see is a matrix of all the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats of a company without reading anything.
Without
reading anything, every detail, what I see is a matrix of the
Right.
company that have to do the analysis.
What does the matrix tell you, just visually?
The metrics tell me that they have a lot of weakness and a lot of threats.
Exactly. Exactly. This is why you don't do it in a horizontal format, Joey. You do it in the matrix format.
Joey,
right?
I did that too. So, you know.
So on the right-hand side, you can see that this Tessai cleaning company in Japan has more weaknesses and threats than it does strengths and opportunities. So that's one of the things I like about SWOT. I mean, as you're beginning to put it together, you start to see a visual picture, and a picture is like 1,000 words. Okay. The other reason I like this SWOT is because what we found is we have an attribute, which is employees, in all 4 boxes. And it's not often that you get a SWOT where you have an attribute in all 4 boxes. You can get, obviously you get an attribute in 1 box. The example I gave you of the health and safety, it would be in 2 boxes, the threat and the strength. And maybe you would get it in 3, but in 4 boxes is pretty rare. So what I did was I've taken out the employee parts of the problem, all right, and I'll put them into another slide. But just before we go there, and have a look at the attributes that I put down there. Okay, so on the Yabe-san, all right, he's got 39 years worth of experience. He's worked for JR East, which is the company that owns Tessai, and he's worked on the job with Tessai employees. So we've got a little bit short sentences there that tell you what's going on with the person that's now been appointed to run this company. If you look down on the threats, obligated threats, there's a 7-minute cleaning time on the trains. They're non-standard trains, they differ in length, and they have a mix of class, coach, and that's different on each train. So you've got to visualize this. They have, in Japan, bullet trains. They have a bullet train come into a station every 3 minutes, and they have many platforms. And when everybody gets off the train, okay, they have 7 minutes to clean that train, and then all the people get back on again. And this is a whole train, all right? So it has to be a fast turnaround, yeah? And so you're painting the picture here, all right? The obligated threat is you've got 7 minutes to clean a train, but you know it because it's there, and you know the non-standard trains they are differing in lengths. Okay, so not all the first class is at the front on every train. Sometimes it's in the middle, sometimes it's at the back, and there's a mixture of carriages as they go through. So I've taken out the employees and I've put them together on another matrix. And on this matrix, what I'm doing here is I'm color coding. So we see that Yabe-san has a lot of good information here. He knows his explicit and tacit knowledge of the railway workflows and procedures. What that means is explicit knowledge is knowledge that you've learned, knowledge that you've been trained in. You've either been trained in school or you've been trained on the job. That's your explicit knowledge. Your tacit knowledge is knowledge that you gain on actually improving and developing workflows and procedures. And so Yabe-san has a lot of good ideas that he can bring to this. He says that women value teamwork, and we know culture was cohesive and disciplined. So on the blues, I'm going to stick with the blues, all right? So the strengths were the women value teamwork, culture was cohesive and disciplined. On the weaknesses, most of the employees were part-time and accidents were increasing. And there are 20 to 30 hires per month. It's a large turnover. Now, in some organizations that are multinationals, that may not be a large turnover, but for them, it was a large turnover. So why is it a large turnover? Because recruiting talented employees was difficult. Why was it difficult? Because it's known as a low 3K job. So this is what it means in Japanese. It means it's a dirty, difficult, and dangerous job. And future employees, people that were coming to them for jobs, had issues with their past careers. And the job turnover was high. So all of these things are now telling you a problem of why you got 20 to 30 months, why you got accidents increasing, and why you have so many part-time employees. On the opportunity side, the people that had stayed there, they had a strong desire to help customers, all right? And they also thought that the training program for the new employees, younger employees, could be improved. So when we go back, one of the things that we noticed on the opportunities is employees that were there for new employees used to benchmark the experienced cleaners. And if we look up over here on the weaknesses, we found that following the Tessai cleaning procedure caused cleaning delays. All right. So you've got to remember, this is a company that's cleaning trains that are coming into the station on different platforms every 3 minutes. They've got 7 minutes to clean this train and get out again. And there's a procedure put in place by the company that says this is the way you should clean the train. You go in, you sweep the floor, you clean the seats, you wipe the trays, you wipe down this, you do that. And that's the procedures that they made. But what they found was that the employees that benchmarked the experienced cleaners realized that if they deviated from Tessai procedures, they cut clean times. So even though you get different attributes in different parts of the SWOT, what you find when you start to put all the SWOTs together, all right, so this would be the same for you, Adam. If you did your SWOT on you, and then your wife did her SWOT on you, you could start bringing that together, and then you'd say, okay, this relates to this.
Yeah.
All right. So you have a weakness here, but you now have an opportunity to put that weakness right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the long shot from this is that, and if you want to do the case study, I can do the case study with you another time. But the long shot to this is Yabe-san actually turned this company around and made it not known as a 3K job, or in English, a 3D job, dirty, difficult, and dangerous. He made it a job that the young people that had difficulty getting work were proud to come and work in, and he gave them all new uniforms, and he restructured the organization so that when the train pulled in the station, they were all standing there ready, and as the people come off the train, they would bow, because that is the way you do it in Japan, and then they would go in and they would follow the new procedures that they work together with collectively as a group to improve the cleaning times. And then they would be off in 7 minutes, and then they would stand and bow so all the people could go back on the train. And they did such a good job of it, Harvard actually went over there and did a case study on them.
That's cool.
So I'm going to come out there now.
So before you do, real quick, I got a question about this, because when you said you color coded it, I was then waiting to hear what that was, and I never did. And that's something you might want to add is a key visually, or at least explain. Blue is the first topic I'm going to cover because it relates to. Red I'm going to cover, and then gold I'm going to ignore. Because I was waiting to understand what the color coding is that you put on there when you're talking. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. So I should identify that
That'd be great.
each of the colors relate to all the blues relate to each other on the swap.
Yeah, but why?
Because they're all related to the employees and what they're doing and how they're doing it.
Okay.
So when
And
they valued the teamwork in the strength.
And then
So-
red is the company then?
No, red. No. Okay. So this red is talking about procedures. All right. And down here, this is talking about procedures. And this is talking about procedures.
Okay, so the blue is more like the self-will of the client.
Yeah.
And then what's the gold?
The gold was, we didn't cover that one. The senior staff were scary and intimidating. They were always yelling and scolding the employees. And
Okay.
obviously there was a lack of confidence.
So
And I
that
put that in a separate color because that's the command structure. That's
Yeah.
the management.
So management. Okay. So the blue is voluntary stuff by the employees.
Yeah.
Red is what's on paper, and the gold is the management approach.
Yeah.
And the black is
Actually, that should be the gold as well, because this is Yahweh saying this. So he's the overall big manager. And that's a good point, Adam. I can put that in the same color as that.
doing my job. Thanks. All right, moving forward.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
I guess we're into Q&As now. If I can get out of this, that's it. And return to, how do I stop sharing? New share.
There's wherever the toolbox is, you click on that. Right below it, there's a stop share red button, or it might be the top of your screen. There's a green
Yeah.
line, and then there should be a red one.
On top of the word Zoom.
Stop share. There we go.
So what was that you said, Hanix?
He got it.
Right, so Q questions.
Was
Was it useful,
I
Jim?
want to congratulate you. The presentation was awesome. I really like it. So we're doing a little bit different, but you just can give me a new, like an avenue, like a new point of view for me to see the swap in a different direction. So, and I always have that trouble in putting the things all together. But with that method that you present in the color code, you can see in the categories of that, you can kind of relate to each other and kind of find the solution. For example, in the gelling, the management need to be more human and have a good relations, maybe have a leadership skills and also in embracing the employees, stuff like that. So that will be it will become a strength. You see, so that's the way you put it. It makes it easier it's more visual, and it really kind of like makes things easier. Having nice correlation through one square and the other square, to really find those opportunities. See, so I really like the way you're approaching it. Thank you.
It's 10 hours.
Okay, it's just by the way, my book will be out hopefully next month and explains all of these plus more.
Awesome.
That's great.
Just send me a link. Are you on LinkedIn too?
Yeah.
Send me an invitation, please.
Bill, what's the title of your book?
That's a good question, Jim, because I'm battling with it. I've had lots of inputs. I started with simple strategic planning, and I've gone around a whole myriad of suggestions, and I'm actually coming back to simple strategic planning.
Okay.
And it's going to have a subtitle, which most business books do have. I want to get in there that it's data gathering for a competitive advantage or something like that. But probably be simple strategic planning. And I'll let everybody know on Million Cups and Adam's Flow that when it's out, don't worry, you'll know it's there. But what I do is I actually, like I said, I take you through 5 moves. I take you through your company first or your business first. Then I take you through the SWOT. Then I take you through the resource base view. Then I take you through 5 forces. And then I tell you how to connect all the dots. And then I've got an additional part in the book, which is part 2, which talks about if you're doing international business, what are the things that you need to know about working in international markets?
May I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I work with small business owners and a lot of solo proprietorships business. Are you including something like that for solo owners?
Yeah, you can use this from anybody that's a solopreneur onwards. I mean, the methodology is exactly the same. Doesn't matter if it's just you, all right, or if it's a multinational organization. This process that I've designed is applicable to everybody.
That's great.
Question 2.
I'm gonna move us to the question. Just real quick, everyone, a quick ask. If you don't have an ask, that's fine. But then we'll wrap up here, and then we can keep talking afterwards. But then it brings more of a completion and consistency to the hour we've got. So I'll start with ask because it's real hard for me to come up with asks. So the ask I've got is if you know anyone who would like to really stretch their limits and make some more happen in their world, then send them my way and we can have a little chat, 20-minute discovery talk. All right, so we're gonna go kind of the method that we started from the beginning. So Jim, Joey, and then Hannes.
Well, I don't have an ask today. I certainly enjoyed the presentation, Phil, and look forward to your book coming out. I wish I could attend your presentation this weekend.
You can. You can join the presentation on Monday at 2:00. And if you can get the link from UNM Rainforest Events, or
can you just email us the
yeah,
link,
or I've got a link and I can post it on your Facebook page, your LinkedIn page afterwards.
Would you go ahead and grab that while Joey's doing his ask? And
I
post on the chat too.
I'm trying to think where I've got it, but I will try and grab it. I will try and grab it.
I hear you. I'm glad it's a safe place for you to work on that. Joey.
So my ask is, please spread the word about our community day. We want to get rid of as much PPE as possible to all these small business owners. That way they're not having to pay for it. Things are opening back up, and we understand that they need supply. So whatever's being opened up, we want to help them out. And then of course for you guys, if you need anything from us or just have questions, let's chat. I love talking to new people and seeing how we can help partner together.
Thanks, Joey.
So I'm excited for your presentation. I'll be there 2 p.m. Monday. I registered. I'm excited.
So I'm just putting the link in the chat now.
Thanks, Phil. Hannes.
Thank you, Phil. I want to ask you, Phil, if you are going to translate that in Spanish, and if you are going also to have an audio book about that.
Yeah, I've already raised this with Joey and JJ. I think once I get it published, then I'll see what I can do with working with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce to get it translated into Spanish.
Okay.
Qué bueno. That's
Está muy bien, excelente. Nos gusta.
Sí, nos gusta. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. Phil, I'm assuming your request is for everyone to come, but I'll let you give your little request real quick.
Oh yeah, well yeah, my 2 asks are buy the book when it comes out, and secondly, hang around if you want to ask some more questions. I'm staying on for a little while. If you want ask some questions about that or the other matrices, then let me know.
Great, and I enjoy seeing you guys next week or whenever you want to come on back. And next week, Phil will be hosting, and we're going to talk about how that's going to work out next time. But it'll be whatever topic he'd like, probably continuing with this. Do you know what you want to talk about next week, Phil?
Not yet, but
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
maybe I'll carry on with this and do this second part.
And maybe we'll just hang out and talk. And then I'll be back the week after that is the plan. Let's see here now. So that's next week. And thank you for coming, and keep the sparks flowing. That's my sign off. That's when we're calling it, we're good. But then we can keep talking.
Excellent, excellent. I hope you're enjoying the song I sent you for you to practice Spanish.
Yeah, thank you. Muchas gracias.
So, Joey, any questions from you?
No, while you were talking, I was kind of going through mine, and I think we're gonna redo it. Just be more specific.
Right. Did I get it right that you did this with JJ?
Me and JJ, we did it together.
Yeah,
So
well,
we'll do it
that's what you shouldn't do.
Okay.
Tisk tisk.
All right, you need to do yours, and JJ needs to do his, because
Joey,
you have different points of view.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm thankful though, Joey, because that means that we got that cool lesson. It's the right good timing.
I was reading it and I was like, I see what he's saying. So we'll redo it in a matrix form, and then it'll be fun to go through it again.
Also separately.
Yes, separately. That's the key. Yes.
Well, you do it separately first, and then you sit down at a table and say, okay, we put this onto one, okay, and you take out the duplications. But the underlying point of duplications are, do you and JJ have the same understanding of that duplication?
Okay.
All right, because you may be thinking about it differently to what JJ thinks about it. But it
Yeah.
may be sustainability. Your sustainability may be different to JJ's sustainability.
Yeah.
Which is why you never do one word or two word attributes in a swap.
No, you're right. But yeah, we're excited to do it again and see what we come up with. See how it's only going to help us. So.
Well, Phil, I have a couple questions. My experience with organizations that have brought someone in, or usually it's someone internal that grabs everybody together and say, we're going to do a SWOT, is that most people that are contributing to the SWOT have never done one before, or have done it so long in the past they really are not clear on how to do it. And the facilitator is usually not particularly good at explaining it, because they probably just looked up some instructions on the internet on how to do SWOT. And so not everyone does it a little bit differently if they do it individually and they come together. So my question to you is, what are the most common mistakes that you see in practice for organizations who try to do a SWOT for the first time? They haven't done it in a while and decide to do it. What are the common mistakes that you see?
I think, let me think about this. I think the first is that they don't understand the structure of the template. And if you don't, you look at it and you say, okay, this is obvious: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But did you know that the strengths and weaknesses only apply to the inside apply to you and your organization or your department? Did you know that the opportunities and threats are things that you haven't done, and the things that impact your business and they're outside of your control at this particular point in time? An area I did miss is, and I'll ask all of you, how many of the 4 boxes do you have 100% control over?
All of them, because I'm really strong.
I'm not sure if you don't have, I'm not sure that you have much control over the threats.
And Hannix?
I'm still thinking about how to redo the whole thing, but I have to kind of like redo the whole thing to answer that question.
Right. Well, Jim's right. You have complete control over the green boxes that I showed you, which are the strengths, the weaknesses, and the opportunities. You don't have 100% control over the threats, because if you've got laws, rules, and regulations in there, you cannot control those things. The only thing you can do is you can either mitigate them, turn them into a strength, or in some cases, but you can't do it if it's laws, you get rid of the problem. Okay. But if there's a law saying you have to do something because you're using some materials or like health and safety, you can't get rid of that. It's always going to be there. And so you're right, Jim, you've only got 100% control over 3 boxes. The last box, you just look at that and say, how do we mitigate those issues so that we can live with it? But to further answer your question, Jim, I've done it when I've pulled companies that I've been consulting with, sat down, told the CEO and his department heads, we're going to have a SWOT meeting tonight, and I've brought them into the conference room, and we've sat there and we've started writing things on the wall. Now I know how it works, so I was putting the right attributes in the right boxes, but for them, they were just throwing these things out. Okay. So I think the best way is you need an independent third party. You need to get a coach in if you've got a larger organization. Yeah. Because they understand what needs to be done here and how it needs to be put together. And the comment that I made when I opened up, and that is, you need to be honest about what you're putting down here. If you're working with another department and that other department isn't performing how you believe it should be, then you need to put down what you think is wrong with that other department. And all of these things are not bad points, okay? They're not bad because you know about it and you can do something about it. If you don't know about it, then you're in problems. Now, you know, as a sales guy, you might put down that the marketing department's not really helping me out, right? And the marketing manager might say, we do a really good evaluation on our products and we highlight the value-added features. But the sales manager may think, you know, he doesn't, you know, he's having trouble selling the product. So when you start putting those two SWOTs together on a master, you get what I had with the Tessai SWOT. You get, you know, the cleaning procedures, we've got a set cleaning procedure. Yeah, but if we deviate from it, then we can do it better. Yeah. And so I think you honestly, a lot, you know, politics plays a huge role in this, in an organization. And you have to take the politics out of developing a strategy. Yeah, it's everybody has to be 100% on board with this, and they have to be honest about what they're contributing. Does that answer the question?
Absolutely. Thanks, Phil. And a follow-on question is, I think we've all experienced, if we've worked anywhere in corporate America, where there's a big push to have these strategy meetings and SWOT being a part of that. And oftentimes it's off-site and it's all big and exciting and team building opportunities thrown in there as well. And then not a whole lot happens after that. So the failure is the execution. And other than the day having some ideas that were planted in your mind, in each department's mind, there's maybe some incremental changes, but there's no follow-up. The execution is terrible. Your thoughts on how to turn any type of strategy, time spent on strategy and SWOT, to actually execute on that strategy?
I have in the book, I don't have chapters, I have moves, okay? And in the book, you're going to find that I have 5 moves. And the first move is just talking about your company. It's just talking about you and your organization. and I'm bringing up my index because my index is going to be a good content controller. So in move one, you cover two critical factors, and that's history and where you are now. Okay. And then we look at the business S curve. I don't know if you know the business S curve.
Not familiar.
Okay. You can Google that and look it up.
Okay.
And you have to identify where you believe you are on that curve. Okay. And then why do strategic plans fail? And I look at, and I made a matrix that runs very similar to a SWOT. And in that matrix, I look at change, complexity, workflows and processes, resources, and financial. All right. And I've got it worked out in 4 boxes. Okay. And these are the 4 main reasons from my research and from my experience why strategic plans fail. And then I go on and I discuss each of the points and why they fail and what people and what organizations do in each of those points. So you have a whole chapter or move, like move 1, that covers before you even sit down on a SWOT, what you need to know before you embark on a SWOT. All right. And although you will start with it and end with it, the SWOT, you have the other 2 steps that are in between with the resource-based view and the 5 forces.
Thanks, Phil. You just sold your book. Just that chapter alone. Why do strategic plans fail? That, to me, I think they're kind of like, strategic plans are like startups, more fail than succeed.
Yeah, and the prime reason is because you don't go through the correct process. I mean, I used this analogy when I was in New York doing a training session on this. You got a GPS, yeah. So you want to go somewhere, okay? So that's your strategy. I want to go somewhere. That's my objective. I'm going to get there. So what do? You put in the address, yeah? Mm-hmm. That's right, yeah. That's where you want to go. That's your objective.
Oh, that's funny. So you're saying, but we forget about the next step.
Yeah, what happens then? When you put an address in a GPS, what happens? Now think about this before you answer, critically and logically in 1s and 0s.
I don't think in 1s and 0s.
Think about it critically.
It addresses where you're at, and then it has 2 points, the starting point and the ending point. And then it identifies multiple routes.
Jim, you hit it on the head. All right. Why does it? Tell me the second one again.
Well, after the starting and ending points, it identifies multiple multiple routes.
Yeah, you put the address in, and then the GPS in its little brain says, "Okay, he wants to go there. How do I get there? Where am I now?" Mm-hmm. All right, where am I now? Because there is no way that GPS is going to take you to where you're going to go unless it knows where it is now. There is no way you're going to get to your objective of the strategy of the pivot or a change in the company unless you know where you are now. If you don't know where you are now, how can you do a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? Is that true?
I think
that's true. All right, because if you ignore where you are now, you're only doomed to repeat it again.
You know, that's interesting too, because with this person I'm working with, Joyceland, she points out, she's a metacognitive coach, but she points out, like, she's realizing recently how important the status quo is in order to figure out what change you want to make. And she's always had it, but she's like realizing more in depth how important it is to recognize and identify your status quo before you figure out, or so that you can get to your desired outcome better.
Yeah. And that's so I take you through that process, right? And I give an example of in the book from Egyptian history. So, but I'm going to leave you just with that bit. You'll have to get the book to figure that one out. And so, if you start to begin to understand where your organization is now, what it's doing, what it's not doing, what it's good at, what it's not good at, all right, when you come to the business S-curve, all right, you will be able to pinpoint where you are. Not exactly, but you'll be able to say roughly, am I at the beginning stage of this process? Am I at the developing stage? Am I coming to the pinnacle of it? Or am I at a pivot stage? Yeah. And understanding where you are now, all right, understanding your history, how did you get to where you are? And understanding where you are now are the two main things that you need to cover before you go on to the SWOT. So mistakes would be, Jim, to enhance your question before, you get everybody into the room and say, okay, guys, what are we good at? And they'll start reading it off to you, all right? And what are we not good at? And you start writing it down. But how did you, what are the things that you did that got you to do the things that you're good at? What are the things didn't you do that made you not so good at the things that you put in the weaknesses? And you need to examine those first. And then you can sit down and say, okay, now we understand collectively as a group, all right, where we are and how we got here, or individually in your case, Adam, yeah. Now you can sit there and say, okay, now let me fill out the SWOT, because you'll have more information to put down there. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Phil. I'm looking forward to your book. Sounds like it's going to be an incredible resource and
Really handy.
helpful.
I hope so. The lady that is helping me to put it together is, she was a coach for 30, 40 years. She worked with very large companies, Fortune 500s. And she said to me that when I told her I was doing this university thing as well, although I did it in New York, she said to me, I think you're going to go on a tour of the country with this. So she's actually pitched some of it to a couple of her clients, and they're kind of interested to learn some more. But I'm afraid you have to wait till the book comes to get those bits of other information.
And speaking begets speaking. So when you get one instance, it's like every time you present somewhere, the group will probably find someone in the group that wants you to speak somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Well, hope you all learned some good stuff this week. Maybe we can just have an open chat next week about it and talk a little bit more. But so Adam, what I need to get from you is, how do you set that link up and all that kind of stuff?
I've set up the link. What I'd like to get from you is I'd like to, and I've got a couple things written down here to talk to you about. Okay.
Sorry, is there any more questions from Hannix or Jim?
I should probably get going to her too. So
Okay.
I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you guys for coming. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Hannix.
Thanks, Phil.
So the link for next time, I've already posted it on the meetup. So if you want to create what your link is going to be, because you're the ones that are going to be opening it, and I don't know, you have to be part of my Zoom in order to use the Zoom. We could figure that out, or we could just, well, when I say we could figure that out, you cannot minimize Zoom when you're recording this. Okay. what I
I
should
think
do.
what we do, Adam, is set up. Let's do a trial run, say on